Hello there, what is going on everybody? Today I am bringing to you part 4 in my new 2026 series of what to buy first when you're on a budget for Star Wars Legion. Today we're talking about the Separatist faction. If you like droids, you're in the right place. However, they aren't always the easiest models to assemble and might be a little bit more of an advanced faction if you're just starting out, so maybe not the best faction to start out with, but it really all depends on what you like. These are only going to be my recommendations. They aren't necessarily a definitive guide, and I think you should always be driven by what you think is going to give you the most fun and not necessarily just what I say. So if you happen to like something that I don't even recommend, then you should definitely get that, because just because I don't necessarily recommend it doesn't mean it's a bad choice for you. So always be driven by the fun factor first and keep my recommendations secondary. But if you don't know where to start, hopefully I can help you out with this video. Plus, we are still doing a new round of the giveaway for that $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. Let me know some of your favorite Star Wars moments in the comments section below. I'm going to jump right into this list, but before I do that, I also want to point out the second edition of Star Wars Legion. It has this new logo. I want to point out that both the old version, or the first edition, and the new version on the left are both legal, both valid. The only major difference between product is going to be the cards that come in the box are going to be redesigned in the new version, and in some cases things will have changed. Of course, all of the cards are available for free at atomicmassgames.com. The new rules are available for free at atomicmassgames.com, and also the battle cards, or the pre-game setup, and the deployment cards and the objective cards and all of that stuff, the mission cards, all of that is available for free at atomicmassgames.com. So even if you end up finding a good deal on an older box, that's fine too. But I am going to try to focus this a little bit more on the newer boxes, the type of product that will be continuing to be reprinted and will be available moving forward. But again, nothing wrong with picking up an old box. A lot of stuff is being reprinted, though, in the new hard plastic. Granted, the Separatists aren't affected by this very much because their stuff was, I believe, all in the hard plastic. And there's not a whole lot of things, although some things have new sculpts and some things are changing. However, let's start with the best place to start, and that is the starter. Of course, this is a phenomenally good deal. This is the Star Wars Legion Separatist Alliance starter set for $99 currently. And by the way, everything I talk about, I'm going to have a link to in the video description below. You can check it out for yourself. You can read over the product descriptions. If you want to order from Asmodee, you can do that on the site. Some of these things are still up for pre-order right now. But again, or you can order these at your friendly local game store, or ask them to carry the stuff. I always am a big fan of supporting the stores in which you're playing. So definitely keep that a thing moving forward. So let's talk a little bit about the Separatist starter set. You're getting an awful lot in this box. Not only are you getting about 600 points, which is about a recon game. Now, Star Wars Legion is a 1,000-point game for the standard, so this isn't going to get you a full army, but it's like, again, it's 600, it's 6/10 of the way, right? So it's getting you close. You're going to be getting General Grievous in this box. You're going to get 2 supersized units of B1 battle droids, and you're going to get 1 supersized unit of the B2 super battle droids, and you're also going to get a unit of droidicas. Now, this one's a little different from some of the other boxes that we've seen before, in that you're not getting special forces units in here. You're getting a support, but not special forces. I think one of the reasons for that is that the B1 battle droids have so many more models. You're getting an awful lot of models in this box, and so the plastic count is a little higher in this box than it is in other ones, which further increases the value in this, because you're getting 30 B1s. Now, The other cool thing about this is that you can do a lot with those. You're getting multi-language card packs in here as well, and you can split those up into lots of different core options. This is also one of the few boxes that gives you 3 core cards right off the bat, officially. Of course, you can always break these up and you can kind of run them unofficially in multiple, and even more core than you're getting, but it does kind of satisfy your core unit requirement of 3 for a 1,000-point army right away. You're getting General Grievous in here. He has a new sculpt if you are an existing Separatist player and you already have the old General Grievous. You're going to be getting a new sculpt in here that is more easily able to be built with both having the cape on and the lightsabers. If you wanted to do that with the old version, it was a little harder. You kind of had to kind of bend plastic a little bit to make it work. So this one's more designed for that. And you are getting the Droidekas, which is a unit of 2. They are, I'll say this is opinion-based here, but again, those of you veterans who've built them in the past might be able to attest to them. Maybe not the most beginner-friendly models to build. I found them a little bit more intermediate, almost advanced as far as the difficulty in assembling the Droidekas. A lot of fiddly bits in there. They weren't the easiest to put together, but they look absolutely fantastic once assembled. So it's sort of like a challenge, but you're also getting the reward with them. It's kind of why I did this video 4th in my series, because I kind of would recommend players kind of start with maybe Empire or maybe even the Republic or something like that, something a little more iconic. But it depends on what you really like, and if you really like Separatists, well, maybe you do because you're watching this video. You should definitely go with these guys. Just be warned, the Droidekas might be a little bit of a problem, so take your time with them. Don't let it stress you out, because this should be a fun hobby and it's going to be beautiful. In addition to all of these models, again, this is like 5 expansions worth of stuff. Each expansion is somewhere between like $30 and $50 or $60. You're getting this whole thing for only $99, and that's MSRP. Also, you're getting everything else you need to play the game. You're getting your dice, you're getting your range tools, your maneuver tools, you're getting battle cards, you're getting all of the new stuff as well. You're getting tokens, you're getting the whole shebang, and you can play Recon, which is the 600-point fort kind of version of the game that you can play right away with this box. Now, the only thing you don't get in this box really is terrain or a playmat, right? But you're getting everything for one army. Really great value. I will also say that it's not a bad idea to consider getting a second version of this box. 2 of these core sets is a tremendous value, because if you were going to buy even 2 more expansions, you're going to get like 4, well, I would say 5, but you don't really need a second General Grievous. But you're going to get 4 more expansions, which again would probably be quite expensive. You're going to save a whole lot when you do this. And then you get a second Grievous that you can paint differently or whatever. You can have fun with that one. Again, 2 core sets is generally a great way to go. That will also get you to 1,000 points. If you're trying to get a 1,000-point army, this is probably the cheapest way to do that, picking up 2 of the Separatist core sets. Now you've got 2 core sets, you've got a full 1,000-point army for $200. Technically $199.98, right? Or maybe even cheaper if you happen to find them on sale. That's all you need to get started. But if you don't want to go with 2 core sets, another advantage, by the way, of getting 2 core sets, you also get extra dice. You're almost certainly going to need more dice. People sometimes lose or break range tools or movement tools, so having extra of all of the basics as well is a huge value. And again, those are also like if you priced I think if you priced and bought everything in here, it's somewhere close to $300 or whatever if you had to buy everything individually and separately. So again, you're saving a tremendous amount of money with this. I will also caveat that a second purchase, depending on when you watch this, there's a pretty decent likelihood that another Battle Force box will be announced at some point in time. Those tend to also be really good value. I will cite the previous Separatist Invasion Battle Force box. This box doesn't exist anymore, or it's not available for sale. This one had one of the AAT tanks in it, and it had a whole lot of stuff. It also had Grievous in here, so this isn't like the best example of what exactly you should get. But Grievous is pretty iconic. You're gonna see more Grievous. Don't worry, we're not done with Grievous yet. But whatever they do announce next, take a look at that. There's a pretty good chance we'll see a Separatist Invasion box again in the future. Pretty good chance, maybe even another General Grievous sculpt could potentially be in there. Who knows? If they if they kind of keep with the pattern of doing stuff, we'll probably see a Battle Force box for the Separatists in the future, and it will likely be a tremendous value with offering some really cool stuff. So always keep an eye out for whatever is coming, and again, we'll be talking about those. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, click that bell for alerts, all that other stuff too. Let's go on to our next options. If you don't want to get a second, if you don't want to get a second core set, or maybe you do and you just want to add some variety, if you're looking to get to 1,000 points without getting a second core set, or you want to add some more variety, I've got like 3 more expansions that will get you there, and it'll also kind of add some variety to your unit. So first one I'm going to recommend, and this is even if you do get 2 core sets, these are still 3 additional good purchases that are going to give some variety to your build. The first one is going to be the BX Commandos. BX droids are, honestly, they're pretty cool. If you've seen the Clone Wars, they're a pretty dangerous unit. They get up to a lot of no good stuff. But this is a Special Forces unit. Since this core set didn't have a Special Forces unit, it'd be kind of cool for you to get a Special Forces expansion under your belt. Now you have some Special Forces to play around with. You have some different kind of elite units that you can mess with here. The cool thing about this particular box is that it comes with 2 unit cards. So for a $49.99, which is actually a kind of a good price tag, considering most of these, a lot of the stuff we're going to look at tends to be $59.99, although it has more models in it. This one gives you 2 different units. You can run a full unit of BXs with the Saboteur, and then you can have a separate strike team that is running a sniper, and so you can kind of run 2, or you can flip-flop those, but that's typically the way you run them. You can give some shields, you can give the other one vibro swords. It's really 2 units in one box, and that's what makes this a pretty good value. They have different different roles, and again, your Saboteur full unit kind of comes in there with vibro swords, is really good in melee, while the other little strike team sits back and snipes and plinks the damage from really far away from relative safety. Again, it gives you different roles and gives you 2 different units in one box. Pretty cool stuff. Moving on, if we want to add something else we don't have already, a heavy. Now, most heavy units, the Separatists do have a lot of tanks. They do have a lot of tank options to them, and they tend to be expensive. So if we're looking at a heavy, here's something that gives you 4 different models, all in, well, I say different models. They're 4 Aqua Droids. Aqua Droids are very popular right now. They're very popular. They've gone up in price a little bit as far as their cost in the game, but they're still reasonable. They're still very strong and very popular. For $64.99, this is not a particularly cheap box, but it gives you a very effective unit in combat. The Aqua Droids count as a heavy, even though they look like just regular droids. They're big. They're very big. They're like 4 mini tanks all in one unit. Well, you can run it as a group of 3 or as a group of 4. It's very common to run them as a group of 4, but you're getting 4 models here. They're not difficult to assemble. They're super fun to paint. They're actually very popular unit for a number of reasons, but it gives you a heavy as well, which is a cool thing. And if you're following this so far, if you got 1 core set, the Aqua Droids and the BX Droids, that gets you over 900 points, almost all the way there. I think with a DSD1 Dwarf Spider Droid expansion is a great way get you all the way up to 1,000 points here. These are being reprinted right now, only for $29.99. It's a pretty good value for a Spider Droid. Now, these are a support. You've already got a support if you've got a core set with your Droidicas. If you bought 2 core sets, you'll have 2 units of Droidicas. You still have room for 1 more support. The DSD1 can help round out a list, giving you 3 supports. Most Separatist builds can only have a maximum of 3 supports. This could be your 3rd support, or you can get 2 of these and run only 1 Droidica, or you can have a lot of stuff. You don't have to run any Droidicas at all. You could run just all DSD1 Spider Droids. Again, you're just getting 1 in this one, but they're long range, they're effective. They used to be really, really, really popular, but I think they're still pretty good. The model is also pretty cool, except for that antenna on the top. I will warn you, people tend to break the antennas. Be careful how you store and move this thing around. Those antennas tend to break off. The coolest thing I ever saw was somebody had a little spring they put in between the model and the antenna. That was really cool because then if somebody whacked it, it would just go boom, like a car antenna. Very cool stuff. But again, I feel like we're at a point in this list where things are like optional now. We're going to talk about some other cool things after this, but you can really adjust this based on your flavor, your preferences, the things that maybe you liked from the Clone Wars, some of your favorite episodes. Go for things that you think are fun. But what we've talked about is we've talked a couple of different ways to get to a 1,000-point army without having to buy everything. At this point, we're looking at some other cool stuff, because there is definitely some cool stuff. Like the customizable Super Tactical Command Droid. This is your custom commander and operative box. These are a really cool expansion. I think I recommended these a little bit earlier, a little higher priority in my other faction guides, and one of the reasons I have it a little bit lower here is just because the model quality themselves are a little bit maybe not as breathtaking as, like, you know, the custom Jedi and stuff like that. There's definitely some cool stuff here, but I do want to point out that the picture on the front of this box doesn't actually represent what's inside the box. So you can build one guy with legs, but you can't build two guys with legs because it comes with basically this triple leg thing. So you can build one kind of normal bipedal droid, and you have to build another one that's more of like a spider walker kind of thing. So again, that's just an aesthetic choice, but like they show you these two and they say there's two droids inside, but you can't build these two. You can build one of these two, and the other one has to be a little bit different. It's not a massive change. It's not a huge thing, but for me, it was an aesthetic thing, and it would have been cooler to have a little bit more leg options or something like that. But that being said, it's still a very cool box. You have a lot of really very cool, interesting ways that you can build these. You can build one commander and one operative. You have cards for those. All of the customizable expansions they've made for every one of the factions so far has one of them. They are a very cool expansion, and they're going to be very fun. Again, in this case, maybe this is something you can wait until you've kind of gotten the feel of the army for, and you're looking to, to get an operative. You're looking to get a different commander option. This gives you a ton of that. And there's more stuff that's coming that's not kind of available just yet. There's a lot more commanders and a lot of things in the pipe that are going to be coming out later in 2026. But this is a really good start to get an extra commander and operative and some different options and different flavors for your army. Another box that is actually a pretty good value, although it's an initial price point is a little high, but you're getting 2 units in there, is the LM-432 Crab droids. And some people might not like crabs. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit partial to the crab droids because I am Crabbok, right? So, you're getting 2 supports in here. If you've picked up 2 core sets, it's not the best. Maybe it's not the biggest thing that you need right away. You already got a support in the core set. If you're buying multiple core sets, you already have 2 supports. You don't really need 2 more right away, but this does give you options to change things up. Now, if you've only bought 1 core set, but you really do want to have 3 support units right away, this might be a good early buy. You might want to prioritize this one a little bit sooner than now, but it kind of depends on what you're looking for and the things that you want to go. I know for some folks, the crab droids aren't the most recognizable unit in the Separatists, but then there's other folks that will like live and die by swearing that these are the greatest things ever. And it kind of depends on what your own preferences are. These are a little bit more of a melee, a little bit more close combat focused unit. They want to rush into people and kind of crab them to death. So, they kind of do well there. And so it kind of also might fit your play style. But for $54.99, you're getting 2 crab droids. Not the best price per model, but it's a decent price considering you're getting 2 units in here. It's not a bad price. If you want to change things up with your special forces, the Magna Guards are a particularly effective unit. They've also just been recently repackaged in the new 2nd edition. These guys can protect your commander. They're great to protect Grievous. They can also protect other commanders. So if you've got the custom droid commanders, super tactical droids out there, they can work to protect them as well. And these guys are very, very deadly in melee. They definitely want to be up close and personal. Also, only $39.99. Not bad. You're only getting 6 miniatures in here, but and it's only 1 unit, but they're still very good. All right, let's moving on. If you want to do something a little bit different, and a little bit more thematic, you might want to consider some Geonosians. There's a box that has Sun Fac and Poggle the Lesser. Poggle the Lesser is a commander, Sun Fac is an operative. They work together. They have a lot of Geonosian-specific synergies and things that are going to work there. I have this one, even though you're getting 2 new units for only $29.99 and a new commander and operative with different command cards and all of that stuff. You're getting a whole lot of gameplay opportunities here, but there's certain things that they work a little bit better with, like the B2s. If you picked up 2 cores and maybe you got a couple of extra B2s, then this might be a better option. If you are thinking about picking up some Geonosians, then hey, it's also a really good option. But again, I would recommend Geonosians if you're getting Sun Fac and Poggle the Lesser, and maybe not necessarily getting them all at the same time. Now, if you're not a big fan of Geonosians, but you're a little bit more of a big fan of very, very cool stuff, very, very cool stuff, but don't mind another Grievous. I told you we weren't done with Grievous. Grievous has a wheel bike mode. And honestly, this is just cool. This is just really, really cool. We've kind of gotten past the part where we're on the budget right now, and now we're talking about the cool stuff. This is for when your budget gives you some room to experiment with a whole different play style. You can consider Grievous on his wheel bike. He's still a commander, and he works well if you've already got Grievous because you've got even more command cards, and now you can mix and match and kind of, you have a whole lot more options on how you want to run Grievous. This is super cool, but he also has great synergy with the new TSMEU personal wheel bikes that are coming out very, very soon. They may be out already by the time that you watch this video. But another reason why this isn't necessarily budget, this is $70 for 2 of these. You're probably going to want a couple of them. They work, like, you can fit quite a few of these in a list, and I gotta tell you, I'm tempted. I'd love to run Grievous, and the wheel bike model is absolutely fantastic. I have Grievous already. I don't have the other wheel bikes yet, but the model's done very, very well. We've seen these guys at Adepticon last year where they kind of debuted these in the case. They're really, really cool. Makes me want to play some kind of like pod racing or Bunta Eve Classic or Mario Kart kind of game mode where we're just, biking around, picking up power-ups and blasting each other. It's a really fun thing, and this is something new and something cool that's coming out. Again, not necessarily for everybody on a budget, but it's very cool stuff. And if you were looking for something new and fun to kind of get you into Star Wars Legion or to jump into the Separatist faction, maybe this is the cool thing that gets you there. If you're an existing player and you're just kind of looking to get caught up with 2nd edition, I did say that all the cards are available on the website for free. They're print and play. You can get them all there. But if you prefer to have physical cards, this is something else that you can do. The Separatist Alliance unit card pack has all of the old cards that the previous, basically all the 1st edition stuff. It's like a conversion kit, but it's totally optional because everything is for free. But if you want to have physical cards in hand, you can do it this way. You can pick up this Separatist Alliance card pack. You can also pick up the Command card pack, which has the updated version of all the command cards. You got to sleeve these anyway, right? So it's like you can print and play them, or if you prefer just to have the physical cards, you can get these. You can also get the upgrades card pack. This is for all the generic upgrades. All of the generic upgrades that, from all of the 1st edition stuff that got made over into 2nd edition, and also the battle deck pack. Again, a lot of this stuff is stuff you're not going to need if you're a new player or you're jumping into the faction, or if you pick up the core set. You're going to have pretty much everything you need in the core set. But if you're an existing player and you're just looking to pick up extras of these, or pick up a physical version instead of getting the print and play, these are also available at the Asmodee website. So that is our Separatist guide for getting into the Separatist faction for Star Wars Legion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. You can also jump into our Discord, which is going to be linked in the video description, as well as links to everything that we talked about, and some other cool links too. For example, if you're interested in protecting your minis when you travel to Adepticon or your local tournaments or your game store, you can save 15% over at Battle Foam if you use code Crabbok VIP. You can get awesome Magna racks and some awesome foam and cases to protect all of your favorite games and all of your favorite miniatures over there, and you can save quite a bit with that code. So There you go. And that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching, for all of the support, for the community. A big thanks to my patrons. You guys are the real heroes. Thank you so much. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.